So welcome back guys. In this particular session we'll be talking about the fertility rates. So basically if we talk about the fertility rates, we are having four important fertility rates, right? So one is the very first one is your general fertility rate. Then we'll be talking about the total fertility rate, then the gross reproduction rate and the net reproduction rate, right? So please say with me, over here we are having four reproduction rates over here, or I would say the four fertility indicators or four fertility rates are there, right? So the very first one, guys. So in the very first one we shall talk about, that is our first one, that will be the general fertility rate. So GFR, right? I know you must be thinking of glomerular filtration rate after listening to the GFR, but over here I'm talking about the PSM, that is the general fertility rate. This is the GFR in short, right? Basically this simple formula, this is a formula of this one GFR, right? It basically says that in the general fertility rate and the total fertility rate, right, this is the one side of the picture, and the gross reproduction rate and the net reproduction rate, this is the another side of the picture. In this particular session we'll be talking about the differences between these four types of indicators or these four types of rates. So please look at the names over here. For an example, if I'm saying general fertility rate, okay, or in case, for an example, if I will be saying there is a total fertility rate, right? So what I want you to focus upon over here is that is this one, that is this particular term. What is this? This is fertility. Over here what you can see, this is fertility, right? In the upcoming terms I will be talking about the reproduction rate also, but please wait for some moment over here. So if I am saying general fertility rate basically and the total fertility rate, they are talking about the children's. Okay, listen to me very carefully. They are talking about the children's. What does this formula say? General fertility rate, basically this formula says general fertility rate equals number of live births in an area, right? Number of live births which is happening to any particular woman in an area, right, divided by the mid-year population of the woman reproductive age group. Mid-year population in woman reproductive age group. WRA means woman reproductive age group. Woman reproductive age group, what age I am talking about over here? If I am saying woman reproductive age group, I am talking about 15 to 49 years, right? 15 to 49 years, that age group I am talking about. Okay, and if you will be multiplying it with the 1000, that will make your formula of the general fertility rate. General fertility rate, it means number of live births in an area. If I am saying number of live births in an area, I am considering the children. Children means son and the daughter. Okay, son and the daughter. So no gender discrimination over here. Either it could be male, either it could be female, either it could be son, either it could be daughter. Okay, why I'm emphasizing on it, you will be knowing soon. So total fertility rate means over here, if we talk about the formula of the total fertility rate, okay, it says that number of daughters, okay, number of daughters which are born over here. Okay, cut this part as well. Okay, dobara karte hain. Right. So let's talk about the total fertility rate, guys. Total fertility rate means, if you talk about the formula of the total fertility rate, so numerator will be the same as the general fertility rate, but we will add one thing over here. What is this thing over here? It means that number of live births in an area, obviously number of live births in an area, right? Numerator will be same, just listen to me. Mid-year population in women reproductive age group, I know the age group as well which I am talking about. Okay, I told you already, that is the 15 to 49 years of age group multiplied by 1000, but the main thing which I'm gonna add over here, that is the, so in the number of live births I am adding the age specific fertility rate. Okay, so over here I am just adding this age specific fertility rate, or you can say the number of live births in an area assuming age specific fertility rate divided by mid-year population of women reproductive age group multiplied by 1000. This formula is telling us about the total fertility rate. Okay, I hope you guys are clear. What is the difference between the general fertility rate and the total fertility rate? The only difference is that in the numerator I am considering, or I am assuming now, age specific fertility rate. Okay, I am assuming the age specific fertility rate, and usually they are targeting the MCQ with this important point. Okay, so this particular point you need to remember in your mind, and this particular point I am highlighting over here as well, that is the age specific fertility rate in the numerator. If I am assuming that as well, then it will become the total fertility rate, which is the best indicator, or which is the best fertility rate over here. If I will be considering, then obviously as compared to the general fertility rate, total fertility rate is the better indicator, right? Now I am coming to more better indicator, third one. Now I will be considering about the third one. Okay, before that, one more thing I would like to add over here in the total fertility rate. Basically, the total fertility rate is giving us the approximate magnitude of completed family size. Okay, so if this question comes that what is the indicator of completing family size, then your answer should be the total fertility rate, guys, right? Okay guys, now next one which I'm going to talk about, that is a gross reproduction rate. Okay, gross reproduction rate, or I may call it as GRR. Okay, so this is also easy one. Okay, how the question will be coming, actually they will be giving you the values, right? You just need to apply those values in the formula and calculate the answer, right? Or read the question very carefully, whether they are mentioning about the age specific fertility rate in the question, or they are not mentioning about that, whether they are mentioning about the children's, or they are mentioning about the daughters only. These kind of things should be carefully read. So over here, if we talk about the gross reproduction rate, guys, how it is different from the fertility rates. Okay, so on a broader category, I can say that there are fertility rates and there are the reproduction rates. In the fertility rates, we are talking about the general fertility rate and the total fertility rate. In the reproduction rate, we are talking about the gross reproduction rate and the net reproduction rate. So firstly, let me talk about the gross reproduction rate, and then we'll move on to the net reproduction rate. So gross reproduction rate says that if I'm talking about the number of daughters, right? If I'm talking about number of daughters born in an area. Okay, so in the fertility rates, I was talking about the number of live births. If I was talking about number of live births, I was not talking about the discrimination of the gender. I was just saying that number of live births. Live births could be daughters also, son also, right? But over here, I'm specifically concerned about the daughters, not the sons over here, no, only the daughters. So number of daughters which are getting born, the number of daughters born in that particular area, okay, assuming age specific fertility rate, right? Assuming age specific fertility rate, ASFR is age specific fertility rate, okay, divided by the denominator will be remaining same as the fertility rate only, that is the mid-year population of women reproductive age group. Okay, so denominator will be same here also, the multiplier will also be same, that is a multiplied by 1000. Okay guys, this will be your gross reproduction rate. Okay, so again guys, number of daughters getting born in an area, assuming that age specific fertility rate, divided by, multiplier will be 1000, divided by mid-year population of women reproductive age group. Okay, denominator will be the same in the fertility and the reproductive rate, right? Over here, now I'm going to the fourth one, right? That is the net reproduction rate. This is even more better. This is the best indicator we are having right now. Net reproduction rate. This is abbreviated as NRR popularly. So in the net reproductive rate, basically, first of all, I would like to add some important points over here. Net reproductive rate, actually, it is the best demographic indicator, right? It is the best indicator, right? And this is best one. First, one more point over here is, if we talk about the net reproduction rate, if I am saying that net reproduction rate, or NRR, is 1, right? That means it is equivalent to 2 child norms. Usually we are saying generally that one family should be having 2 children only, not more than 2, so that we can control upon the population, right? So if the net reproduction rate, if we are achieving the net reproduction rate as 1, then we will be achieving this particular target, that there is equivalent, this particular target will be considered as we are actually following the two child norms, right? Okay. Next point over here is that if let's say net reproduction rate is less than 1, right, then we'll be saying that the reproductive performance is not adequate over there. Then we'll be saying that reproductive performance is inadequate. Okay, it means then the child norms, if I am saying, it will be less than 2. Inadequate. Okay, inadequate. Right, so that these 2 points you should remember over here. Now let's talk about the formula of the net reproduction rate as well. So net reproduction rate says, okay, number of daughters born. Here also I am talking about daughters. In the reproduction part, I am talking about daughters. In the fertility rates, we are talking about the number of children born or number of live births. So number of daughters born, right, number of daughters born in an area. Now I am assuming 2 points over here. Assuming age specific fertility rate, ASFR, age specific fertility rate, plus mortality rate or the death rate. Okay, plus mortality rate. Okay, plus mortality rate. So that will be the thing over here which we need to understand. Okay, right. So here I shall write number of daughters born in an area, assuming age specific fertility rate and the mortality rate, right? Multiplier will be the same over here as well, that will be the 1000, divided by denominator will also be the same, that is the mid-year population, right, of women reproductive age group. Simple guys, right? So I hope that is clear. That is the net reproduction rate. Now some important points over here I would like to discuss, right? What are these important points? Some important targets regarding these fertility rates. So we are having different kinds of targets regarding these different fertility rates. So we are having 4 important fertility rates. These are your general fertility rate, total fertility rate, gross reproduction rate, and the net reproduction rate. Once again guys, in the gross reproduction, in the fertility rates, general fertility rate and the total fertility rate, we had a talk about the number of live births, right, or the males and females, both kind of daughter and son might be included over there in the numerator. Denominator will be same for both fertility rate and the reproduction rate. Multiplier was 1000 for all of these conditions, right? Only the numerator is changing a bit. What was the difference between the total fertility rate and the general fertility rate? The difference was that in the total fertility rate, in the numerator we were assuming that there are age specific fertility rate. What is the difference between gross reproduction rate and the net reproduction rate? In the gross reproduction rate, we are only considering the age specific fertility rate. In the net reproduction rate, we are actually considering the age specific fertility rate. With that, we are considering the mortality rate as well in the numerator, right? So this is the basic difference between these things, right? In the targets, right? In the targets, we are actually trying to achieve net reproduction rate. Okay, it should be 1. If it is equal to 1, I already told you, if the net reproduction rate is 1, it will be equivalent to the 2 child norms, right? So that's why we are actually considering the target net reproduction rate of 1, right? Then we are saying that the total fertility rate, it should be lesser than 2.1, right? And let me tell you over here that, you know, in these conditions in India, right? In India, basically, net reproduction rate actually, if we talk about over here, then we are actually nearby 1 only. And if you talk about a total fertility rate in India, that is 2, right? So let me just write it over here, that in India, total fertility rate is 2 over here, right? Okay guys, now if we talk about the couple protection rate, there is couple protection rate, right? In the couple protection rate, basically we are saying that our target is that it should be more than 60%, right? It should be more than 60% if you talk about the couple protection rate, right? This is also the functional or the operational indicator. This is also the functional, right? It is also the functional or operational indicator right? And for the India, the couple protection rate we are having, that is around 66%. In India, the couple protection rate is around 66%. So it's good that we are actually maintaining the 66% of couple protection rate, and the total fertility rate is 2, which should be less than 2.1, right? Okay. Now, if we talk about net reproduction rate, right? This is the most sensitive, and it is also called as it is also known as the final impact indicator. So if we, so net reproduction rate over here, that is actually the most sensitive indicator, right? It is also known as, right? This is also known as your final impact indicator, because obviously net reproduction rate is the best, because it was assuming the age specific fertility rate also and the mortality rate also. So this is the best indicator we are having among the fertility rates. Now, one more point over here I would like to highlight, that is that if we talk about the total fertility rate, this is the most important indicator. So these are some of the one-liner MCQs which shall be tested in the examination. So most important indicator is the total fertility rate, and in the total fertility rate we shall also say that this is the epidemiological indicator. Right? So the summary of this particular session was that we are having the fertility rates 4 types. Okay, again guys, general fertility rate was there, total fertility rate, gross reproduction rate, and the net reproduction rate. Then we had to talk about some of the formulas regarding these, and we had to talk about some of the targets regarding these, right? So this was about the fertility rates. Thank you so much for listening to this one. I will be seeing you in the next one. Thank you.